this is needlepointers.com, and today I would like to show you how to embroider on a pre-purchased apron. I'll be using this apron that I purchased from Michael's for our project today. This apron, it's just one apron in a package, and it's a standard size apron. I purchased a cream colored one and this pink one. So I'll be showing you embroidery of a pattern onto this pink one. This one I did yesterday. The patterns I'm using are from a website called Designs by Juju, and these are 2 designs out of her kitchen sayings pack. If you would like to purchase supplies for this project, please click the link in the description of the video or in the iCard. Michael's is one of our affiliates, so if you purchase through our link, we get a small commission and you help us keep making more videos. The Designs by Juju link will also be on the web page, so you can find these cute sayings. Some other items I'll be using to do the embroidery is I'll be using a cutaway stabilizer and also a tearaway stabilizer. The only reason I'm using both is because my cutaway stabilizer isn't big enough to hoop into my largest hoop. I will be floating the apron on the hoop, and I wanted to use cutaway behind it, so using both just gives me a layer that I can hoop. I will float the cutaway, and then I will float the apron on top. So let's get started. I am embroidering the largest size of this pattern, so it requires my largest hoop, which is 7 inches by 14 inches. I've hooped my tearaway stabilizer, as I said, and I floated over top the cutaway stabilizer. I have fixed the cutaway stabilizer to the tearaway using spray adhesive. The pattern itself is oriented in my machine this way, so I have to hoop crosswise, and then I'll put it in the hoop this way, and it will embroider across here. I'm going to be floating my apron on top of the stabilizer in the hoop. So I found the easiest way to do this is to fold it right sides together and line it up and then crease it. Then take the hoop, and my hoop has a center mark here, here, and here. So I know that's the center of my pattern. So I just line my apron up with those lines. I have to keep the straps out of the way. And keep in mind that this is going to embroider in the middle and across this way. This pattern is 8.5 inches wide. So that means that I'm going to have about 4¼ inches going across, which is going to be about that much. So because of how big the apron is, I want to move it down so that there's more opening on the side. I don't want it right up against the side of the apron. So I'm going to adjust it down. So that's about 4¼ there. So my pattern will go across here and down this way. Again, I'm going to line up on the lines. Then I'm going to take some spray adhesive and lightly spray it on the hoop. And then open this up, trying not to move it. Make sure it's nice and flat. And then fold it back the other side. And I can see, seems that I was not careful enough when I put it down, because it's not centered anymore. So I can peel this up, realign it, and press it down. So now I'm centered at the top and at the bottom. So again, I'm going to spray lightly spray adhesive this, and open it up, and press it down. And by folding it down the middle and then lining it up on your middle marks, this should make it nice and straight. As you can see, now I have the apron loaded into my machine, and the design is loaded up in my machine. Next step is to begin to embroider. This is a machine applique embroidery. So the first step is stitching an outline stitch, which will show me where to place some fabric down. This fabric will be in the background. Once it finishes stitching the outline stitch, when you're doing machine applique embroidery, you will then take a piece of fabric that is larger than the outline that it's stitched and place it down on top. If your fabric doesn't lay flat or you're afraid of it moving, you can use spray adhesive on the back of the fabric and adhese it down so that it will stay in place. Once you have the fabric laying down, then you start to stitch the next stitch, which is the tack down stitch. Once the tack down stitch is completed, remove your hoop from the machine. Then trim the fabric along the cutting line, which is the line that was just stitched, all the way around using a pair of scissors. I like using these little curved scissors. I also have another pair of curved scissors that I like to use, but usually it helps to have the curved scissors. So the best way to do it is to take the curve edge and you have your points upwards so that they can't get caught in the fabric. And this lets you get close to the fabric, or to the cutting line, and cutting the fabric without cutting your stitched down fabric. So I'm going to cut around the whole thing, and I'll be back. After you have the fabric cut close all the way around, put the piece back into the machine very carefully so that you don't bump or move the arm. Also, make sure your fabric is out of the way, and in this case with the apron, you want to make sure your straps are not underneath, because they can easily get caught underneath underneath your stitching, and then you'll end up attaching them to the bottom of your project, which you don't want. The next stitch is going to do a finishing stitch around the outside of this piece. After it's done stitching the finishing stitch around this piece, it's going to sew the other steps in this design one by one, and I will go through all of those steps and then come back, because it's a standard sewing for embroidery, so I don't want to bore you and have you see every little bit of the stitching of this. So I'll be back in a while. So before I show you the finished project, I'd like to say, if you like this project, please click the link in the description of the video or the iCard to see more photos, tips, and written instructions. Pin this page on Pinterest so you can find it easily again. If you have a website or a blog, we would love it if you could put a link to our project page on your site. If you have a crafting related site, we can put a reciprocal site link to your site also. Just let us know. You can also keep up with us by subscribing to our YouTube channel and by following us on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, or Google+. Visit our website by clicking the iCard to find the links to follow us. So the machine has finished sewing the whole project and it's time to remove it. And there's the finished design. Let's pop it out of the hoop and see what it looks like. So the tearaway stabilizer pretty much just came right away. And this is our finished apron. The only steps left is to trim a few jump stitches, and on the back I'll have to trim around the cutaway stabilizer and trim the extra threads that are on the back here. But other than that, the project is finished. I really like how it turned out. These are really cute patterns from Designs by Juju, and I hope you will make a couple of aprons for yourself. We hope you enjoyed this project today, and as I said, make some aprons for yourself. Don't forget to share this project with your friends on social media, subscribe to our channel, and comment below and click the like button. Also, visit our website needlepointers.com to find lots of other machine embroidery projects and tutorials.